Okay, Donald, I know you're into big diversion tonight, anything to avoid talking about your campaign and the way it's exploding and the way Republicans are leaving you. But let's at least focus on some of the issues that people care about tonight. Let's get to their questions.
We have a question here from Ken Karpowitz. He has a question about health care. Ken?
I'd like to know, Anderson, why aren't you bringing up the emails? I'd like to know. Why aren't you getting
brought up
to the bottom?
emails.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. And it hasn't been finished at all.
Ken Karpowitz has a question.
It's nice to 1 on 3.
1 on 3, that's according to DJT, Donald John Trump. And certainly it's tough to argue with his assessment based on that video. The commentators last night, Anderson Cooper and Martha Raddatz, critical of Trump, but very accommodating to Secretary Clinton. And obviously, it's been the subject of much debate in this post-debate time. Let's grade last night's moderators, and to help do that, from Newsmax Washington, we welcome Michael Patrick Flanagan. Of course, Michael's my old classmate up on Capitol Hill, both elected in 1994. He's currently the president, sadly not of the U.S., but of Flanagan Consulting, and he is joined via Skype from Las Vegas by talk show host, political commentator, and the Libertarian nominee for vice president back in 2008, Wayne Allen Root. Wayne, of course, also the author of the book Angry White Male, How the Donald Trump Phenomenon is Changing America and What We Can All Do to Save the Middle Class. Michael, first to you. You heard what Trump had to say, 1 on 3. Were the moderators, in fact, biased against Trump last night?
Yes, and I don't think that there's anyone who can say otherwise. Even Hillary's most ardent supporters smirk and giggle when they talk about the mainstream media. Watch them today. Watch them last night. Megyn Kelly almost lost her mind last night in the post-debate show about trying to spin how Trump lost or it was a terrible debate or meaningless. Bob Schieffer today talks about it as a disaster, as disgraceful. They only do that when they lose. When they win, it's a wonderful process. You know what really needs to be changed is the debate commission. All we have this time are Democrats and never-Trumpers on the commission. Donald has no chance with this crowd. We need a change in the commission. The commission is a joke. They go back to their pals in the media and they say, here, you do it. And they know it's going to be biased against the Republicans, but they're fine with that. Well, I'm not fine with it, and I'm tired of the media shaping the narrative. These guys, the ratings that they have, the money that they have made on this election, on the debates in this election, should let the debate commission understand that the media will come begging at their door for any terms to be able to put these shows on. So they don't have to kowtow to the media elite to do this. They could have anybody moderate these things. And I would love to see Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff moderate the debate on the defense or something. I mean, there's all kinds of really good people you could bring in to do this, and you don't have to have media elite do it.
Hey, JD, I certainly have nothing bad to say. I agree with everything that Michael just said. It was all fantastic analysis. The only thing I could say to that is that I believe despite all that, and we know in the very first debate it was terribly anti-Trump. We know Lester Holt was just awful. The only thing I can say is that Trump learned. And in the second debate, they were all against him again, but he didn't care. He did fantastic. I mean, I'm the roughest debate critic you've ever seen. I gave Trump like a C- in the first debate. And in this debate, I give him an A bordering on an A+. He did fantastic, not just under the circumstances, under any circumstances. Donald Trump won a magnificent landslide victory last night. I just hope I could say the same thing on November 8th. But despite the moderators being against him, he gets an A or an A+ from Wayne Root, and that's saying something.
Well, you might want to score CNN D for being on the defensive, because here are the numbers that cable network put out, perhaps to defend Anderson Cooper. Speaking time for the candidates: Hillary Clinton, 39 minutes and 5 seconds. Donald Trump, 40 minutes and 10 seconds. So Michael P., it just kind of begs the question here. CNN puts that out, I guess, suggesting that the moderators were just trying to move the process along and trying to be balanced in terms of the allocation of time. But of course, bias is not based on time spent speaking necessarily.
Well, when you're endlessly holding up for one candidate and you go back to them with leading questions, and, you know, Hillary, in case you missed it, this is where you ought to go with your response, and in some of those responses they gave to her. And yet Martha Raddatz actually fact-checking Trump on the spot, saying, what, are you so stupid you don't understand that we do mystery ops or psychological ops and stuff? I'm sorry, Martha Raddatz, are you some sort of expert at what goes on at the Pentagon? Why don't we hear your credentials? Are you in this debate? It was appalling, and it was embarrassing, and it was laughable, and the debate commission needs to be abolished. It is a joke, and it has been a joke for years, but we put up with it because they're these old, you know, experts on the party, and it's a Washington thing. Screw it. It's got to go. They're done.
Well, maybe we should do what happened in your home state of Illinois all those years ago, Michael. Of course, Lincoln-Douglas debates, but we can debate that later. Concentrating now on the media. A lot of folks in the press have decided that they have to so assume an adversarial role that it's interruption-orama. Wasn't only Trump, it was Kellyanne Conway, his campaign manager. Watch this interview for the Today Show, and maybe we ought to keep count of the number of times she was interrupted by the Today Show hosts.
In the case of Kathy Shelton, that has nothing to do with Bill Clinton.
Even if
it was
that
Hillary
were true,
Rodham Clinton,
just to zero in on it real quick.
And the way Hillary Clinton treated these women.
Kellyanne, a lot of Republicans thought he would be more contrite.
That would be a terrible misrepresentation of the 1 minute and 32-second video that he came out with Friday night.
He kept coming back to the point it was locker room talk.
He said that there's a difference between words and actions, and many Americans agree.
Lastly, was this a good night for American politics?
Now, look, I know you got to move things along. Wayne, you can talk about this. You're now a talk radio host. This ceaseless interruption. What should be done about it?
Well, I guess the moderators took lessons from Tim Kaine. He was pretty good at ceaseless interruption too, but he only hurt his own cause. I thought Donald was great last night. He interrupted just a little bit, and not the way Tim Kaine did. I thought the moderators obviously were very quick to interrupt Donald, never interrupted Hillary, very quick to cut off Donald as time was up, never quick to interrupt Hillary and tell her her time was up. So, I mean, they did their best to try and push Hillary along, and it didn't work this time. It did work in the very first debate with Lester Holt. The entire first debate was spent on Hillary's home court, and Donald was on the defensive the entire debate, and he actually learned. I'm very proud of him. He learned that when someone asks you, do you kill dogs? Your answer isn't to spend 2 minutes saying, I don't kill dogs. It's to say, that's ridiculous. I never would kill dogs. I love dogs. Now let's talk about the economy. That's what Donald did last night. He pivoted away from every single bad question and started talking about what he wanted to. And that was where the moderators would go, oh, but that wasn't the question, Mr. Trump. They didn't do that with Hillary. When she went very far afield from the question they asked, they let her keep going. So it's just they always try and bring it back to the home court questions of Democrats that put Republicans on defensive. But you know how debates are won and lost? I am a veteran, and I was in a presidential debate, libertarian, with 13 opponents. Then I was in a vice presidential debate. And I'm telling you, debates are won at the end of an hour and a half. The only thing people remember is one great line. And Donald Trump had the line. Hillary said, of course, you know, it's lucky guys like you aren't president. And Donald Trump said, yeah, because you'd be in prison. That's the only thing anyone's ever going to remember about this debate, is that he said that, and then she brought up Abraham Lincoln, and he basically said, hey, you ain't no Lincoln. Right. And those are the two most memorable moments of the debate. And when he said, I'm going to have a special prosecutor that's going to put you in prison, lady. That's the three things everyone will remember about this debate. Trump wins.
Wayne is so right, and I'll tell you, his energy and excitement today is infectious for us all. And I'm an old politician, so I rarely let someone filibuster like that, but he's so good and he's so much fun to listen to. I was enjoying it immensely. Let me tell you one more thing, too. There's an old lawyer saying, and this is why, you know, Law and Order is such a joke to watch, because lawyers don't get these long ability to go on and give you their point of view. They're testifying. They're not asking questions. Lawyers are paid to ask questions. And journalists fill that spot in a debate or even in a good interview. They ask the question and get an answer. And the viewer gets a chance to decide if the speaker is evasive or honest or straightforward or has a good answer, whatever it is. And NBC and Today or Martha Raddatz or the others last night were testifying. They had to get the point of view across, and they didn't think Hillary was doing a good enough job, so they had to get it in because they're partisans. They're part of the problem. They're not the solution.
And gentlemen, speaking of a solution, well, there is that old clock on the wall, but I think we had a good exchange of ideas, and I don't think I had to interrupt either one of you. Michael Patrick Flanagan, Newsmax Washington, Wayne Allen Root via Skype from Las Vegas, the author of the book Angry White Male, but always smiling, is Wayne Allen Root, and we appreciate both those gentlemen and their insights and analysis. Did Donald Trump push back against those against him with his response to the leaked audio tapes last night? Did he do it effectively and in winning fashion? Well, up next, two of his biggest supporters, Diamond and Silk, when we continue here on Newsmax Prime.